This PowerPoint presentation is about reading images and analysis of illustrations and picture books that won the Caldecott Award from the 1930s through 2020. Caldecott Award criteria include works being distinguished, marked by eminence and distinction, and have significant achievement. They're marked by excellence and quality, marked by conspicuous excellence and eminence, and are individually distinct. There were two Caldecott winners in 1938 and 1939. The illustrator for Animals of the Bible used pencil drawings of black and white figures to draw realistic illustrations of animals. The only color used in this book is on the cover. The illustrator for My Lee uses black and white drawings and lithographs, which are an extension of the text. This book depicts action scenes on a double-page spread. Good ink was used, and the illustrator made usage of horizontal and diagonal lines, which shows a complete composition, mass, and line structure that blends figures with backgrounds and buildings. The illustrator also uses a picture book plane to arrange different shapes on the page. We're now going to look at a few Caldecott winners from the 1940s. Abraham Lincoln was written in 1940. The illustration on the left shows a student in the corner wearing a dunce cap, which is very inappropriate. Students were often made to wear these as a form of humiliation and punishment. In the middle picture, this shows a mammy and several children portrayed as slaves, and this is very inappropriate. And on the far right, there shows a depiction of a Native American, which is a very stereotyped way of portraying this individual standing behind the white man. All of these illustrations are inappropriate for a Caldecott Award-winning book. In 1942, Make Way for Ducklings won the Caldecott Award. The illustrations exhibit horizontal and diagonal black and white lines in the composition to help move the story forward. Also, this illustration uses more traditional formal design with a contained illustration facing or set atop a block of text. The illustrations are also presented on a double-page spread. In 1943, The Little House won the Caldecott Award. These illustrations depict urban sprawl after World War II. The little house is resisting environmental changes, and you can see this depicted in the sequence of illustrations shown. In the beginning, the house is in a rural setting, and the cities begin to build around her. And then she goes back to a rural setting. The illustrations also exemplify anthropomorphism, showing the little house has feelings and emotional attachment, and you can see a face on the house. This genre was very popular in the 1940s, and this type of illustrations helped move and progress this genre forward. Prayer for a Child, the 1945 Caldecott Award winner, depicts images of children. The colors are rich and full and complex. They're vibrant. It almost looks like an oil-based painting. However, according to Esther Averill, she states that this book really falls short of the standards of a Caldecott Award winner book. It's really just a lovely illustration representation, but really nothing more than this. The Rooster Crows, the winner in the 1946 Caldecott Award, shows whimsical images, colorful illustrations. It also makes use of anthropomorphism, showing animals acting like people. It's a lighthearted, fun, whimsical, illustrated book. The Little Island, the 1947 Caldecott Award winner, shows images that are rich and saturated in color. It makes use of light imagery. You can see the moon shining off of the ocean. The texture is just richness and vibrant. It looks like a painting, like an oil-based painting. It's very complex, very intense, and the illustrations are just moving. We're now going to be looking at Caldecott winners from the 1950s. Song of the Swallows, the 1950 Caldecott Award winner, depicts images of swallows migrating outside the Mission San Juan Capistrano. The illustrations are very colorful, bold, bright. They depict children. Also, the setting for this story is very unique because not many books had settings depicted in other countries besides the United States. So this was a unique situation in this book. The Biggest Bear, the 1953 Caldecott Award winner, depicts images of bears. These images are muted. They're gray and black and white. Also, the images bleed across the page, leaving little white space. One concerning issue in this story is that it depicts bears in the beginning as being evil and dangerous and that should be captured and killed. The story ends with showing how the bears can be harnessed and put in cages, such like as in a zoo-like setting. This is very controversial, especially in modern times when animals should be protected and put in the best environmental situations as opposed to putting them in cages in a zoo-like setting. Cinderella, the 1955 Caldecott Award winner, depicts images using light imagery, pastel colors, yellows and greens and pinks and blues. The images are fully encompassing on the pages. There's little white space. It almost looks like a watercolor. One issue in this story setting is it shows that Cinderella in the beginning has not much purpose. Then she meets her prince who gives her purpose, and then ends with the conclusion that in order to be happy and content and satisfied, that all paths lead down the aisle, which will make Cinderella's every dream come true, which is very not progressive thought and thinking, especially in modern times. Frog Went a Courting, the 1956 Caldecott Award winner, depicts animals acting like people, which is an anthropomorphic tool. The illustrations are very colorful, whimsical. It makes use of reds and blues and greens. Also, the illustrations are set atop a block of text. Up to this point, many Caldecott Award-winning books used animals as the primary characters in these books. Time of Wonder, the 1958 Caldecott Award winner, depicts images of outside scenery. These images are very saturated and warm. They're vibrant. They almost appear oil-based like paintings. These images are on double-page spreads. There is no white space. The images also bleed across the page. The images are just inspiring and really focuses on the theme of wonder. We're now going to look at Caldecott Award winners from the 1960s. Once a Mouse, a 1962 Caldecott Award winner, depicts images of jungle scenes with animals and very colorful. The human characters in this story are black and white and shadow-like effect. The images bleed across the page. They're on a double-page spread. Also, this story focuses again on animals being the central theme of the story, as in many Caldecott Award winner books have been. The Snowy Day, the 1963 Caldecott Award winner, depicts a little boy home from school on a snowy day. It can be an African American child or any child. This illustration uses a collage effect where paper is cut out and layered on top of each other. These illustrations are very bright and colorful and really make use of light imagery and are just very whimsical and flowing throughout this story. Where the Wild Things Are, the 1964 Caldecott Award winner, uses images to create suspense. In the beginning, these images are realistic. They show a child, a boy who was sent to his room, and then these images change to a fantasy-like scene. These images make use of frame breaks between realism and fantasy. Also, there's a type of synergy produced in these illustrations that create energy and suspense, and they keep the story moving along. There are bright colors used. A double page spread is also used in this story, and it's just a fun, whimsical, and very deep story that shows the mind of a child who is in trouble and dreams of something imaginary. Drummerhoff, the 1968 Caldecott Award winner, depicts illustrations that are very bold and bright and colorful. These illustrations are also set atop of block text where they're facing you. These images are very psychedelic type of art, representative also of Sgt. Pepper from the Beatles in the 1960s. We're going to now look at Caldecott Award winners from the 1970s. A Story is the 1971 Caldecott Award winner. This is an African tale that depicts the adventures of Anansi who obtained stories from the sky god. These pictures are very bold and bright and rich in color. This is really the beginning of the usage of international folklore in the 70s for Caldecott Award-winning stories. The Funny Little Woman, the 1973 Caldecott Award winner, depicts a tale of a little woman in old Japan as she pursues a runaway dumpling. These illustrations use traditional Japanese art. These illustrations also present the perfect harmony with the humorous mood of the story, and it uses this to capture the imagination of readers. This is also another example of folklore being introduced in the 1970s via a Caldecott Award-winning book. Arrow to the Sun, the 1975 Caldecott Award winner, uses geometric spreads in bold golds, oranges, reds, and brown hues that are very deep and rich in texture. The illustrations are vibrant and bright. However, there is some controversy over this story because it is not a Pueblo story and was not told from the perspective of a Native American. Also, there is not accuracy in the illustrations being depicted. There was not much attempt made to instill the accuracy of these images, and there's also a discrepancy over whether or not Indians would even recognize these representations of their heritages and wonders. In addition, there is controversy over whether humans should illustrate or make models or choose to imitate the Kachinas, which is tampering with the forbidden realm of their supernatural and can be deemed as sacrilegious in using some of these illustrations in this story. Why Mosquitoes Buzz in People's Ears, the 1976 Caldecott Award winner, is another example of folklore in the Caldecott Award winners of this decade. It makes use of line and shape. The colors are bold and vibrant and warm, and it's just a very whimsical, illustrated book that tells a West African tale. Noah's Ark, the 1978 Caldecott Award winner, depicts animals being placed in the ark from the biblical times in Genesis. The illustrator makes use of sketch drawings and adds lots of color. It's on a double-page spread. The one issue of concern regarding this story is that it depicts Caucasian people in Noah's Ark, when in reality the people of this region, in the Middle Eastern region, are not Caucasian. So this is a very ill usage of depicting Caucasians in a biblical setting. We're now going to look at Caldecott Award winners from the 1980s. Jumanji, the 1982 Caldecott Award winner, depicts illustrations using black and white images. These images are almost three-dimensional, and they give the reader a different perspective. It's actually as if you are in the picture or the scene with the characters. This type of viewpoint is Chris Van Allsburg uses often, where he changes the perspective from one illustration to the next, and it's very compelling and gets you involved, and it's as if you are in the scene with the characters, and it produces quite a lot of energy and excitement. The Glorious Flight, the 1984 Caldecott Award winner, depicts the story of Louis Blériot, who was the first man to fly solo across the English Channel in 1909. The illustrations are warm and oil-like based paintings. The tone is just muted and warm. This story is also an example of where the themes in Caldecott Award winners are changing and are becoming more biographical in nature, and this is an example of this story. The Polar Express, the 1986 Caldecott Award winner, uses images that are dark and glossy on a double-page spread. The illustrations bleed across the page, leaving no white space. The illustrator makes use of involving the reader into the scene on each page, so you have a perspective of actually being in the scene with the characters. The illustrator also involves using different perspectives from different angles throughout the story, and this is a great example of using creativity and imagination to explore the North Pole. Hey Al, the 1987 Caldecott Award winner, uses strong sense of line imagery in his illustrations. This story depicts vibrant colors that are very saturated. Also during this time, print and ink were slowly becoming less expensive, and especially printing opportunities in China were making illustrators able to print in bulk. This story shows the inside and outside life of Al, but the message is pretty clear and strong, in that this character should stay in his place and stay in his social class, as he is encouraged not to desire more than his current lot in life. And so themes of social issues are beginning to come into play, especially in the 80s, for Caldecott award-winning books. We're now going to look at Caldecott winners from the 1990s. Tuesday, the 1992 Caldecott Award winner, uses a colorful palette of illustrations in this story. The texture is almost like a painting. The colors are vivid and bold and bright. The author uses his creativity and imagination to pull and bring the reader into his world. This is a wordless book. It's unpredictable. It's fun. It's whimsical. It's fantastical. And it almost uses a silent movie type of approach to involve the reader without saying a word, but uses images to capture your imagination. It's a delightful story. Grandfather's Journey, the 1994 Caldecott Award winner, depicts the author's grandfather's voyage from Japan to the United States as he became an immigrant to the U.S. These images are realistic. They accurately portray Japanese people in these illustrations. The images are warm, and it shows another example of Caldecott award-winning books using a biographical theme to weave in their storylines in this story. Smoky Night, the 1995 Caldecott Award winner, depicts images showing characters from the LA riots in the 1990s. These images show strong line and shape and are very colorful and bold. It also uses a collage type effect in putting these illustrations together. This storyline is another example of a biographical event in history of the LA riots. This story mimics the way people look in darkness from fire in the background, and it does an excellent job of portraying an event in U.S. history. Snowflake Bentley, the 1999 Caldecott Award winner, depicts illustrations that are bold and use strong line and borders and frames through each page in the story. This story is also biographical in nature, as it is about Wilson Bentley, a farmer who used microphotography to capture the first images of snowflakes. And it's just a very colorful and creative storyline that beautifully blends images and color and weaves them from page to page in this story. We're going to look at the first decade of the 2000s for the Caldecott Award winners. Joseph Had a Little Overcoat is the 2000 Caldecott Award winner. This book uses a gouache type of watercolor technique painting style. There are also cutouts in this story. It's based on a traditional Yiddish folk song, and there's sheet music on the last page. The colors are bold and bright and vibrant. The only concern I have in this story is that the characters are a little bit stereotyped in depicting Jewish people as always having facial hair and little glasses and wearing traditional type clothing depicted in the stories. But it's a cute story, and it has pleasant text and illustrations. The Man Who Walked Between the Towers is the 2004 Caldecott Award winner. This story uses muted colors, cool tones. The illustrations bleed across the page. They're also on double page spreads. The illustrations also show perspective of looking down onto the street from the tightrope, and so you really get a different view and feeling when you're engaged with this story because of the different perspective and view that you are engaged with when viewing this story. It's a fun story. Each page shows different perspectives of the tightrope walker from scene to scene, and it's really a good story for children and adults. Kitten's First Full Moon is the 2005 Caldecott Award winner. This story and the illustrations use black and cream colors with thick black lines and soft shades that define the kitten's shape and the personality, and also highlights the full moon. The author does an excellent job of combining text and illustrations to convey the adventures of this kitten's first night outside under a full moon. It's a fun, whimsical story that's expressive, and the illustrations and text combine and support one another. It's a great all-around book. Flotsam is the 2007 Caldecott Award-winning book. This book is wordless. It uses illustrations depicting underwater life. The title Flotsam actually means anything floating that has been washed ashore. The illustrations are very colorful and dynamic and rich and bold. The illustrations are depicted in frames, and also perspective is used by the illustrator so that you, the reader, can see what he is seeing from his perspective and through his eyes. The author and illustrator does an excellent job of weaving these images to maximize the reader's experience and engaging in the main character's world of exploring everything that comes ashore. And it's just very well done and an excellent illustrative book. This is the last decade of the Caldecott Award winners to the current time. Locomotive is the 2014 Caldecott Award winner. This book uses free verse and is an example of poetry. One device that is used is onomatopoeia, where the words actually express the sounds that a locomotive train can make. The setting for this story is a family's adventures as they travel on a transcontinental steam engine in 1869. The images and graphics are very vivid and bold and descriptive. They're on a double-page spread, and the images bleed across the pages. And it's very well done using imagery and text descriptions to describe a trip on a train. Radiant Child, the story of young artist Jean-Michel Basquiat, is a biographical story. It uses a collage motif and the layering effect. The colors are very bold and bright. The artistic style of this story weaves the subject of the story to tell the story, and it's very well done and creative and really gets the reader involved in the life story of this person. Hello Lighthouse is the 2019 Caldecott Award winner. This story uses watercolors and combines them with bright and vivid colors. It also uses perspective, where you can see from the main character's view inside the lighthouse, and it focuses on what that character is viewing and seeing at that moment in time, from scene to scene and page to page. It does an excellent job of using artistic imagery to even show the ripple effect in the water, and the brush strokes of the colors in the water paints used bring this story alive, and you feel as if you are in a lighthouse, and you gain that perspective from this story. The Undefeated is the 2020 Caldecott Award winner. This story is biographical in nature, as it exemplifies and illustrates the accomplishments and achievements of African Americans in this country and all over the world. The illustrations are vivid and dynamic. They almost look as if they're oil-based paintings. The author really captures these images in a way that supports the text and just gives the reader an awareness and view of the range and determination that the peoples represented in this story went through, and it's a really inspiring book. This is the end of my presentation of analyzing and exploring the evolution of illustrations in Caldecott Award-winning books over the past 82 years. This is an ongoing and progressive endeavor, and it is my hope that more representation of all people groups will be better represented in future Caldecott Award-winning books, and that these books will illuminate modern issues and characters in the world ahead.